And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Solar Expanse. We're continuing our run with Fission all the way as sort of this house rule. Got the house rule sort of up here. Just a quick reminder, again, I've replaced the background music with the Solar soundtrack just to avoid flagging on YouTube. Again, I technically don't earn any money, so other than it being flagged, doesn't really do anything as far as I'm aware, but it flags the entire video. So in case it would become a problem, we're not running any of the default background music. So the house rule is, other than ships implicitly or explicitly called for by contracts, we're only using Fission until... I said originally until Fission is all the way researched. At this point, it's going to be all the way until we hit the end of the tech tree, which may be during today's stream. So this is what we got left in the tech tree. So we're working on the last fusion tech in the fusion tech line. After that, we're going to go running through, I think, the solar sail line, all the way down the solar sail line, and pick up a bunch of the ships, fusion ships, in particular interstellar travel, which is actually called for on one of the quests, and then just finish out the tech tree at that point. Otherwise, we're pretty close to... well, that is what's left in the tech tree. We do all that, and the tech tree is done. And yeah, at that point, we will probably break the Fission all the way rule and finally build things that aren't Fission ships, just because if you run out of a tech tree in a game, usually you're in that game's post-game. We're getting pretty close to what is basically the post-game here. We are in the process of terraforming, so we're getting pretty good habitability on places like Mars. We've got 83% habitability here. This is reducing supply consumption by like 90%. Yeah, 90% on Mars. Mercury is nowhere as near, but even there we're getting a supply consumption reduction, right, which is coming out useful. The Moon, we're getting a pretty nice reduction there. I'm making food on the Moon, although apparently I am consuming more than we're making. Am I over my housing? Yeah, I'm over my housing, so I should make more habitation there at some point. That's why the food consumption's high. But yeah, things are going well. We're rolling through what's left of the tech tree. As you can see here on Luna, we're building asteroid engines, trying to work up enough asteroid engines that we can move Delphine? Psyche. So we can move Psyche to Earth to serve as the elevator. It doesn't necessarily have a lot of metal and rare earth metals, but by setting up as the elevator, all of this gets harvested immediately. To move it, we need 27 asteroid engines. We've got one at Psyche. I have one in Earth orbit. No, not Earth orbit. Luna orbit. We got one in Luna orbit. There's the one in Luna orbit. And 8 built, so that's a total of 10, plus 3 more for 13. Obviously, that's not all the ones we need, because we need 27. But that's about half. Going through the asteroids the last time, I noticed that it's a pretty wide gap. You need like 1, 2, or you need like 20-something for a lot of the asteroids. So we're not really at the point where we can start to move anything yet, other than the odd, really small one. But it would be nice to start chucking asteroids at things as well. End of the last stream, as I'm kind of being drowned out by the Stellaris audio here. End of the last stream, we were working on orbital mirrors. So we got another orbital mirror going at Venus. We have one going at Mercury. So Mercury may be hot enough for most targets that is basically a death ray that's going to boil places. That's why we've been putting them at Venus, most of them. Because for Mars, we want Mars to be warmer, but we don't want Mars to be disruptively warm. Right? And we do want it to be a little bit warmer than it is. Right now, the average temperature is 2.5. It's a bit chilly in Celsius. The ideal temperature, as you see there, is 13. I think if I get it closer to 13, we should see the water boil off, or the water melt, because right now we got 1.2 megatons frozen. We released it thinking we'd have some liquid water on the moon, or on Mars, and it did not stay liquid. Did not say what liquid it or. We need to get 9.6, 9.7 there. And then it's atmospheric pressure. So it's a little bit on the temperature. We're just a little bit off. I think the one Venus one might be enough. And it might actually be too much. I may need to move and put more, say, in Mars orbit or the lunar orbit or something. But yeah, we'll put a couple there. Working at pressure. We are actually starting to see the pressure rise, although that might be something that doesn't become really feasible to fix until we get fusion ships going, because of just the raw tonnage of nitrogen I need to bring down. Because I want to do a nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere. I don't want to just flood it with CO2 like you could technically do. Mercury coming along with the radiation. We got down to 13.2. How close am I to putting the next one? Or starting the next one? I could start the next one. Let's start the next one. So we got 2 going there. Try to get that down to 0. Venus, we're trying to pull the atmosphere down on Venus with orbital collectors. Oh, and that includes some nitrogen. So we are getting some nitrogen on Venus. And I think Venus to Mercury is probably going to be nicer than dragging it down from Jupiter for Mercury, at least. Yeah, there's multiple atmospheres here. So we need to get that down to probably about 1 atmosphere. And the big component there is the carbon dioxide. We may want to put the nitrogen back in. Although I think there's still more nitrogen on Venus than Venus needs at the end there. There you go. So, other than letting some time pass, I think we can just go ahead and unpause. Well, I don't think there's anything I necessarily want to do other than let some time pass here. Right, we've got some ongoing projects. Not sure there's any that I want to start up, unless I can start up another engine here. Oh, I probably should start up a house here. Right, we're over the housing. Yeah, we're over the housing. Do I have the power? I don't have the power. I was about to say, if I have the power, I should do a city. I don't, so we're going to do a dome habitat, because it'll be better from a build perspective. I can build just one of those pretty quickly. And we can power that. That's only 10 power, and we got 80-something. And then after that, we're still in asteroid engines, and we got the bits for it, and I'm short polar. As I'm frequent to be. How much hydrogen do I have in Mercury orbit? So I could drop some hydrogen to move some stuff around. Say if I wanted to put some more mirrors at Luna orbit. And I probably should go to put more mirrors at Luna orbit, because apparently Luna is not actively building. Again, we want to get radiation on the moon down to 0. Okay. So let's start this off with a small hydrogen drop, Mercury orbit to Mercury. Drop like 14,000, oops, one too many zeros there, 14,000 tons to Mercury. Good advance 3 days. And then we can do a transit of alloys from Mercury to Luna. In this case, Luna orbit on the 9 Arranes. Right up the fuel-efficient vessel. Optimal transit, please. Well, the closest that you can get to optimal during this window, please. Don't wait to the next one. Okay. And then we do have 1 Arrane sitting at Luna, but that's probably fine. Quick check. Do I have any... No, we're waiting for nitrogen shipment to arrive. Or the nitrogen shippers to arrive at Titan. So let some time pass. While those transits happen. Yeah, we're making more orbital gas extractors in Jupiter. So we have more hydrogen. Or more importantly, Jupiter does contain some nitrogen. So we get more nitrogen off of Jupiter. Mercury arrived at Luna orbit. So Luna orbit wants to build another Magnetosphere generator. And then 9 Arraigns return to Mercury orbit. Anyway, we apparently didn't use enough in the launch that I could probably launch the next batch to the moon as soon as I get back. Mars arrived at Luna. That was bringing polymer. Okay. So we can get some more engines under construction. And that is alloys and rares. Rares and alloys we do make in situ. We may want to bring more alloys up anyway, but it'll work out for the moment. We'll send that Arraign back to Mars. In case we want to do another shipment like that. Here we go, Luna orbit to Mercury. So yeah, I think we'll go ahead and do another alloy transfer to Luna orbit. Got set up here. That way we can have Magnetosphere generators going to build up the... oh, to reduce the radiation on Luna. We're actively making money. Okay, so we've discovered all the asteroids. We just discovered a new one to replace the one we destroyed recently. Looks to be a Helium-3 asteroid, but besides that, we don't know what it has. We do know it has something else. Just, we don't know what that something else is. We just finished up the last fusion tech. Lutetia arrived at Luna. So that was presumably bringing something from Lutetia to the moon. Probably either metal or rares or both. Begin the return trip, unless there's something I want for Lutetia. Lutetia has 65 years of carbon left. So I probably want to accelerate mining on Lutetia so we can finish up mining it. Yeah, don't necessarily need to bring anything. And that's when the carbon runs out. In theory, once the carbon runs out, it can continue to still make supplies. Or consume the existing supplies, because it has kilotons there. Okay, Luna orbit to Lutetia. Send one Arraign. Nothing particularly fancy on it. And then let's have the two that are on Lutetia go to the moon. It might technically be from the Mars back and forth, but we'll send to the moon this time. Metals and rare. Optimal on a go. Yeah, we got years on the Mars, so we're not too worried for Mars. Yeah, and Mars mostly needs atmosphere, needs to melt its water, get more water, and a little bit more temperature. So that's why we're waiting for the Venus mirror to come online. At which point Mars needs to become sort of an exporter of stuff. Receiver of people, exporter of stuff. It's got housing for 300,000. And at this point we're starting to look, because we're getting pretty good food efficiency here, where we could just start really bringing people in. Just start shuttling hundreds of thousands of people to Mars. Take advantage of the food production capacity there. Mercury arrived at lunar orbit. So we'll queue up another mesosphere generator. And send the 9 ships back. Yeah, Mercury's mirror should be done first out of both mirrors. And that's probably going to get pointed out towards the gas giants when it's finished. Important information! Solar sails. Unlike other spacecraft, solar sails do not expel propellant. Their lightweight construction and large reflective surface allows them to move using the minuscule pressure of sunlight to slowly change their orbit. This means they do not require refueling, but they can take only the slowest path between objects. They are also unable to reach more distant objects, and sunlight is not strong enough to push them past the asteroid belt to let them maneuver. Which is not, IRL, maybe not quite true, but rather they'd have to take very circuitous routes to get out to higher level orbits. Because obviously, the farther away from the sun, the slower they accelerate. In-game, that's sort of actually demonstrated in-game, where the first few, so your first solar sail, your second solar sail are limited to the inner system, where there's decent solar. And then the last one, which is the plasma magnetic sail, is, I believe, not limited to the inner system. I believe this one's not limited to the inner system. But at that point, you've worked up pretty far up the tech tree, sort of by implication. Because that requires superconducting magnets. Although maybe I'm wrong, this one is also still... That's limited to 100 AU. Oh, that's where the math is. 100 AU, 3.16 AU, and 3.16, yeah. So, inner system, 100 AU is probably big enough that you can go most of the system in it. Not interstellar with it. Well, in practice, you would probably need something like laser assist, which is kiloton tech sort of stuff. As soon as that mirror is done, I'm going to decide which target do I point at. Orbital mirror, Mercury. So, if I wanted water, and we may go to Europa for that water, that's 28 tons, or 28 megatons of water in the Lesser deposit. And that is surface ice. So this is something I could melt with the mirror. Right, we just crank it up to 100°C and just boil the ocean, pluck it out of the ocean if we're real, out of the atmosphere if we're really desperate to not land on Europa. I got liquid water on Ganymede, so there's maybe an argument to point at Ganymede. I think melting... It might take more than one to melt Ganymede, but melting Ganymede would technically make that, I think, more accessible. I think liquid water is ease of mining 1. We do have a decent amount on Callisto. Same sort of logic on Callisto. If we melt that, that's probably more accessible. Almathea, we release nitrogen and oxygen, and it grows. So there is an argument to point it at Almathea. Again, if we can get that oxygen to release, then we get the habitability bonus from the oxygen melting. Not that we need it as much in Almathea. because again, this is basically just a research outpost. This one has less water as well. Could point it at Titan. Same sort of logic. If we melt the ocean, then that becomes more accessible. I suppose the concern I have if I point it at something is I get it too hot. So let's see how powerful that Mercury one is by pointing it at Europa. Because what we want to see is that it's hot enough that we can get, like, reasonable temperatures out at, like, Jupiter. Closer to, like, 10 C, so it's a 160 degree C swing. Yeah, that's the sort of swing we're looking. So right now we're expecting a temperature change for a primary body of 126 C. Obviously, we're not going to point it at Mercury. We want to point it at something else. I'm thinking Jupiter. And yeah, let's start by pointing it at Europa. See if that melts Europa. If it doesn't melt Europa, we'll see. If it doesn't melt Europa, I might actually point it at Ganymede. We'll see how much temperature effect it has. I might point it at Ganymede and Callisto. Because just getting warmer, right, 126 C swing on Callisto would probably be good enough that I'd be down to just point at Callisto. From a temperature warming standpoint, even though that's not enough to melt Callisto. What I don't want to do is I don't want to point it at Callisto and have it boil Callisto with a single mirror. That would be a little much. Yeah, let's give it about a month. Luna to Mercury orbit. Okay, so that's them back on Mercury. At this point, I can just be bringing out stuff to do more mirrors. Because the alloys need a little while to refresh. So I can do either shades or mirrors. Actually, we don't have the alloys for the shades at the moment, so it's mirrors at the moment. So I can move glass around. We got a decent amount of glass on Mercury. Although I suppose, well, let's see what the melting effect is. So we've had it pointed at Europa. I don't think it's kicked in. Put it at Europa, right? Not at Europe. Europe would be a bad place to point it. Target Europa. Yes, set it's pointed at Europa. Expect it to do more than a couple degrees. So I don't think that's kicked in yet. We'll give it a little more time. To the one on Mercury. We're going to point that one at Mars. It might be too much to point it at Mars, but we'll add it to... Oh, planetary manosphere. Getting confused. That's the planetary radiation production on Mercury. That's not something I point. Europa... Doesn't look like that's warmed up. It might take more time because we're farther out. Or it might just be really weak for such long distances. Getting unoptimized payloads done for the solar sails. Temperature change for primary body 0 degrees. Although I think that's primary, that's what it's orbiting. It's not pointing at the primary, so that makes sense. Maybe point at Europa. The t-shirt arrived at Luna. Okay, so we want those guys going back. They brought useful resources, now go back to pick up more. No, I'm down for using 73. Go during this orbit, that'll work. I shouldn't probably get too ahead of building the engines. We got enough in the queue for the moment. Luna orbit to Letitia. Okay, so then I'm gonna have this one make the run to Mars. Mars only wants... Oops, I need to actually load it with stuff. It was gonna be kind of a useless run. Mars really only wants the rare metal. I'm thinking about Letitia. I should put more of these workers to work. More of the workers to work. And build some more habitation. Let's start with the habitation. Could put a rotating station here. That wouldn't actually be too bad. I don't have the... Oh no, I don't have the glass. So it has to be a rotating hab. Yeah, so crank out a rotating hab, because right now we're over habitat space. So we ran out of food. Big old starve. So we'll do the hab. And I'd like this to be lower than the carbon. Because then if I have to abandon the last of the metal there, that's fine, but we want the rare metal mined at least. So that's looking 86, that's 60. I've got plenty of power. We've got 20 surplus power, although... Is the rotating station going to eat any power? Rotating hab doesn't. Okay. And then I think we got enough crude. So I can do like 10 of these. Get where I was going. Moon and Mars, in case I want to bring more, probably polymers and alloy over to over to the Luna, to build more of the asteroid engines. Okay, we got a rotating hat. That didn't take too long. Go ahead and take another Gander Europa. That definitely had a lower effect than I thought. Reflective materials completed, so we're rolling through the tech tree pretty quick, as you can see. Is that the second? That was the second one, yeah. So we haven't saved enough for another one. But we got radiation down to 12. So we got radiation down to where it was on the moon to start for Mercury. That's a good start. Okay, so the final mirror here is ready. Point you at Mars. So we're going to go from 3 to 4. Given enough time, that should be probably, if anything, too much temperature. But we'll find out. Oh, I've got enough on Mercury, I can start shipping the next orbital worth of stuff, so let's do that. Alloys to Luna, orbit, from Mercury using the 9, arraigns. You know, we're a little warm at 13 or at 18.3, but that's, I think, good enough for the moment while we don't have the water melted. I'm actually surprised the water hasn't melted. I suppose we don't have enough pressure to keep it liquid, that's what's going on. Yeah, we don't have enough to keep it liquid, so it's become gas. So I need to raise the pressure. Although that amounted to a whole 0.02 atmospheres of atmospheric pressure, so that helped a lot with the atmospheric pressure. You arrived yet? No, they haven't arrived yet. I have so much nitrogen at Titan to ship. Wait. They were going the other way. Let's get you guys going back. So you can go pick up the next batch. Mars orbit. Titan orbit. You know what? I'm willing to have you guys burn some fuel just to go faster. Faster outbound when you're empty, and then you can take the slow route back. Save the fuel on the way back. Oops. Add, not hydrogen, nitrogen. 30,000 tons if you can bring it, please. Gotta do the right number of zeros, so they're like planes. Okay. And then we can release the nitrogen here, which we'll just go ahead and do. We'll release some more oxygen while we're at it. Yeah, I was expecting the Mercury mirror to be more of a death ray than it is. Honestly, if that's the temperature I'm going to get off of the Mercury when, we're going to just point at something more useful. Pointing at Ganymede. If I screw up and it actually warms Ganymede up too much, then we've got supplies there and they're not going to starve. And then, yeah, I suppose we should get more at Mercury. More stuff launched at Mercury. Though I suppose that probably wants to be more orbital power stations in the next batch of construction. So we can power more stuff at the moon. Yeah, we do an orbital power station launch, I think. Which reminds me, did you get to the moon? Yes, you did. So send 9 of them back to Mercury. And I will actually have you load some stuff for Mercury orbit. Go ahead and take your glass, the glass on the moon along. Oh, they can't carry that efficiently enough. Apparently. Why can't they? No, because it's the maximum that can go up on the single launch vehicle. That makes more sense. Improve sail deployment. So we're rolling through the end of the tech tree pretty quickly here. And then we can get another one of those metasphere generators going. Mars orbit to Titan orbit. Okay, and we already set that up for the return trip, so it should immediately be preparing the return trip. We're down to 9.12. We're down to 12. You're coming up, I think, on where we can start the next one going. Yeah. Oh, we were actually there. We're going to do the next one, so we'll get the next one going. Okay. Power-wise, I probably want to get up to a full 8. May even want more than a full 8, but we'll get up to a full 8 here. So 7.21 divided by 54 times 8. Oop, no, that doesn't make sense. That answer doesn't make sense. I'm going to do 8 divided by 7.21 times 54. 5960. So I want another 6 in orbit. We've already got the glass up there. So I'm just short the alloys. So I need another 6 worth of alloys. 27 times 6. 162. Pretty easy to orbit. In fact, I'll go in and splurge. We'll go ahead and put 200 in orbit. And I won't use the Teraton in case I want to send other stuff elsewhere. We go 3 days. Mercury travels pretty quickly, so it actually covers quite a bit of distance in that time. And queue up 6 of you. That should be enough to to supply full power to all of my targets. Yeah, should be able to go 25%, 50%, 25%. Because we've got 2 in Mars orbit, 1 in Luna orbit, 1 in Mars orbit. Yeah, we got plenty of housing space now on the moon, and that means the moon is supply positive. A little bit of alley short. What do we have arrive? Oh, that was the metasphere completing. We already got another one queued up, so see radiation improve. Yeah, I was expecting the Mercury one to be better. I suppose we might need to go out to solar orbit. We haven't been putting anything in solar orbit because solar orbit can be. I was bringing up that Mercury might be a bit of death ray. Solar orbit should be even more of a death ray. But we may need to put stuff on there, especially if you want to boil stuff. I think I probably need to put stuff in there in solar orbit. I have no spacecraft in Earth orbit. Let's move one of the arrays there for application. Let's move this one. Yeah, so I need to pressurize Mars more. So we can get the liquid water, the megaton of liquid water to stop being liquid. Or, say liquid. The well, I suppose gas is a liquid. Fluid. It's a fluid. Get it to actually be liquid. We want it to be liquid. Orbital power stations continue to build up. Enough on Callisto. That Callisto, the planet that's complaining about. Yeah, I have you trying to push stuff to orbit. And you're complaining about it being in. Yeah, so it must be Callisto. ground. Drop some tonnage to Callisto ground. For now, it'll probably be complaining about there not be enough in orbit, but... I may need to have the Prometheus start doing some hydrogen hauling for the inner system work there. Yeah, we got plenty of hydrogen there. We got a whole megaton of hydrogen in orbit. Just need to get nitrogen flowing a little bit faster. Now, what am I missing for it's mining, it's the orbital gas extractor. I am missing nothing. I'm missing nothing for this. Get more of these queued up. It's like another 20. Want the nitrogen to be mined. Plasma magnetic sail complete. Asteroid engine being built on Luna. And now we're getting into the fusion ships. I think that fusion ships are all that we got left. The research. That and the cargo hull that affects the fusion ships, yeah. Okay, so you got to Earth, yes. Let's on Earth build 2 orbital construction bays, and we'll ship that out to solar orbit. Magic trick of buying or building stuff with stuff we can buy on Earth. Oh, it just arrived. That's fine. How's the expansion going in Letitia? It's done. And yeah, that's probably about the right... Oh, actually still a little short. I want to go a little bit faster than that, but getting closer to the range where I want to be for mining the rares. Another 10 going. And then we'll do a rare shipment to the moon. Rare and metal shipment. Titan orbit to Mars. That's another load of nitrogen. So we're going to release all the nitrogen we have and release all the oxygen we have. And then send the 10 ships back to Titan. Okay. And then just to check, do I have that much in Titan orbit? I do not. The Kronos needs to get lifting. Cyclical mission, Titan to Titan orbit. Kronos, you are going to be my lifter. And Titan orbit, you're adding nothing. On Titan, you're adding nitrogen. Wait until the cargo is full. You need to launch a vehicle because you are Kronos. And you're gonna carry up 1.8k apparently per launch. So you got 50 launches. I want you to then do 50 up, so that's going to be 50 downs. So 100 transfers. Assuming there is the hydrogen there to support that. Now comes the moon. Getting to the point where it probably needs another transit from Mercury to keep its radiation production going. Getting radiation protection more and more improved on Luna. Okay. Before the previous one gets done, we're getting the next one in the queue. Then we get those 9 arrays to return to Mercury. Earth has those orbital constructors. We are going to take those to the sun. Earth to the sun. $100-ton trip. Ride the Magpie. Optimal transit. 21 days, so just skydiving to the sun. Solar diving is pretty fast. And yeah, we'll bring a full propellant tank. I'm not even sure we can undive with how much fuel we need to take along. We're gonna do it anyway. Worst case scenario, trap an array on the sun. Okay, Rain. The lowest energy transfer from here is going to be getting back up to Mercury. Can you do it with what fuel you've got? Yes. It's not even that long of a trip. Okay, so we've got orbital construction facilities at the sun. So I can try to get a mirror going at the sun. Nice and bright sun. Gonna take... Oh, don't need to improve the radiation production to the sun for the sun. Orbital mirror. So it's mostly gonna be glass, with a little bit of polymer, a little bit of alloy. Send that array back to Lutetia, and then I'm going to do a run to the sun from Mars. I want to bring along... Oh, I can't go straight to the sun. I got to burn too much fuel just to deorbit. Okay. Well, we're not going to the sun then. We're going to Mercury, because we're going to save a little bit of fuel. By doing an intermediate jump. Mars to Mercury orbit, because I want the stuff in orbit, because its inevitable source is to go to the sun. I want to build a orbital mirror, so I need 900 alloys, 180 polymer, or biplatinum polymers. Here we go. Okay, we successfully got it back up to Mercury. I'll have you go swap the one we just stripped for Mars. Do I need more power? Yes, that's what's going on. The power fluctuation with the stuff is kind of playing into it. Okay, so let's do 2 patches of solar arrays just to provide adequate power. Lunar orbit to Mercury, so that's my 9 ships back. Lutetia to Earth. Was not supposed to be to Earth, it was supposed to be to the moon. The rares are probably worth getting off of Earth and shipping to the moon. So we'll ship them. The metals aren't going to be worth it. I'm just going to sell the metals. Actually, I'll leave them in the inventory in case we build anything that costs metal later. There we go. And then back to Lutetia. Hopefully this time I get the return trip going right. Luna, can you get another one of the asteroid engines going? Yes, 1. Exactly 1. Thing holding you up is probably alloys, mostly alloys. A little bit of polymer as well. We've got 1 in orbit, 14 done, 1 in the queue, so that's 15 plus 1 plus 1 if we include the one on Psyche already. So we got 17 of the 27 I need. To move Psyche. In the meantime, all 10 of you are there. So one of you is doing the dive to the sun with the polymers and the alloy, please. You do not have the efficiency to bring both on a single array. Okay, well, we're gonna have to do 2 then. Bring full fuel, because we're gonna apparently need it to get back. Yeah, we're gonna arrive at like 800 tons, which is enough to get back. And then we'll immediately plan the return trip from the sun. Leave the stuff behind. Optimal transfer back. Okay, so the stuff we got at the sun isn't going to work. I'm going to need what's in the fuel tank, so we need to actually descend first. At least it's fast. And then we just need to get glass to the sun. Then we'll be able to get the solar death ray going. Which reminds me, did I get the queue up for... Yes, I did get that running. And I've got enough power to support quite a few. Yeah, probably only one more before I actually get another receiver up. Although radiation is already much better on the moon. Down to 7.68. I think that'll take it down below 7. Yeah, we'll need to be thinking about another receiver. After the next one. Next one we can chip in, but beyond that I'll need another receiver. Mars to Titan. Did I already queue up the return trip? I did not queue up the return trip. I did not queue up the return trip for reasons because I didn't have the hydrogen, or the nitrogen for the return trip yet. I do now. So we can queue that trip up. Not constant acceleration. We're not that good yet. Solar orbit arrived at Mercury. And how much glass do I need? 24.3 kilotons. So we'll have a glass drag to solar orbit. All the Arranes are going to be involved in this transit. 24.3 kilotons. Paraton will ride it to orbit. Optimal transfer. Go. And away it goes on its dive to the sun. One orbital mirror. And technically I put up the facilities where we're going to be building two at a time, but we don't quite have the drive efficiency to support that, so maybe I've got to hit myself there. Okay, solar orbit back to Mercury. It'll be Rains back to Mercury. Optimal transfer, use minimum fuel. You are go. Yeah, hopefully that'll be a little bit more of a planet boiler than Mercury was. Because yeah, I think the Mercury one is still decently powerful, but that's actually somewhat unimpressive based on what I was worried about. Mercury orbit of Mars, okay. Solar orbit of Mercury, good. What else do I want to do with Mercury right now? I suppose we could do the combo trip again where I bring another one in for a mirror, but we'll see how powerful the mirror is before we get too aggressive with building them. I think it's probably the way to think about that, fairly. And then right now we've got 60 of those. I'm thinking... What, that basically means 15 per receiver here. What would I need to put another 15 in orbit? Okay, so we've already got the glass in orbit, so it just comes down to the alloys. 555 tons. Again, easy enough to get that to orbit. So we get another 15 going, and then we'll have to build a receiver somewhere, which would probably actually be lunar orbit at this point. Orbital power station, shift to build 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And that should provide enough power I can support another receiver, basically. Yeah, I suppose the next transit I should be bringing things to is alloys to the moon. Alloys and polymers to the moon. So, in fact, let's have you do that. Mars, not to Earth. I do not want these on Earth. I want these on the moon. Luna. Oh, Luna. Ship you to the moon. Or the moon to Mars, so we ship you back. Ship the other one back. So we do around. Basically have one coming and one going. And again, we'll get one of you going to Mars. That's where I can pick up polymers, which I need for various things. We're still discovering more exoplanetary systems. So our colony ship will have many targets with which to target. It's not quite enough for the next one. We finished the Nike. So I think with the Nike being done, that's probably a good place to put a part break in with this part. Again, we're working through the tech tree. I think we're going to get it done during this stream. We may even get it done during the next part. At which point, I'm going to take the Fission all the way kit gloves off, and we're going to start using fusion ships to just knock out the terraforming. I want to terraform Mars, I want to terraform the Moon, I want to terraform Mercury, I want to terraform Venus. I want to terraform everything. How much we do, I'm at least gonna do Mars, Moon, Mercury, maybe Venus. We'll see how quickly we get Venus going. I might even do one in the Saturn system. And then we're gonna colonize Uranus, Neptune. Technically we already have, as far as this game is concerned, technically we have a colony on Pluto, because we've put a probe there. Probe is on Pluto, but we want to colonize a moon of Uranus and Neptune. I think actually colonizing Neptune is like the lowest percentile achievement in the game at the moment. Because it takes some pretty good drives to get out to Neptune. By the time you have those drives, why are you going to Neptune? Is kind of, I think, what's going on with people. But yeah, we're gonna colonize. We're gonna get all the achievements, I think, in this run. We'll get all the achievements that exist at the moment, but we're gonna do that partially by building fusion ships once we're done with the tech tree. So we're gonna roll through what's left in the tech tree. We're looking like 4 and a bit years, 5 and a bit years, maybe 6 years, 5 and a bit years, 4 years, and we're rolling pretty quickly because we're waiting for big things to build. We're waiting for long shipments coming down from Jupiter to terraform Mars. And yeah, once we hit that point, I think we'll splurge. We'll go fusion ships. Actually, I'll splurge and I'll build one of everything, so we can see all of them flying. And then we'll swap over to probably running mostly fusion at that point, because it uses basically the same fuel as our fission ships. It obviously costs a helium to build, but they don't run on helium from a reaction thrust standpoint. They're all hydrogen driven. So you need that helium to do the fusion, and then it's hydrogen to run them. And that's basically the case with all of them. So yeah, other than getting the helium for these are relatively cheap to operate and run. They have, more importantly, have a lot of cargo capacity. So we'll be able to put people, places, and then do things with those people much, much easier. I think the main workhorse is probably going to end up being the Zeus. I think I'll use the asteroid regolith engines to move the asteroids around, so we won't really use the Atlas. We'll probably end up swapping to the Zeus once we have everything researched. So if you're watching on YouTube, we'll have another part tomorrow. Most of what I think the rest of the tech tree will be in tomorrow's part. And then we'll probably start playing with Fusion the second half of the stream. So if you're watching on YouTube, part up tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. We're going to take a short break here, so get up, stretch the legs, sip some tea. Until the next part, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part and or stream, and bye for now.